Greetings, gamers, developers, musicians, producers, and everyone in between. I'm Goatfrone Audio, an independent video game composer, and I have recently released Hallways of Our Youth, nostalgic music for visual novels and other games. A downloadable asset pack for game developers to add a tinge of longing and nostalgia to their music. Available on itch.io, Bandcamp, and everywhere else. I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about how to represent nostalgia in musical form. As any hackprod podcaster will tell you, Wikipedia defines nostalgia as a kind of sentimentality for the past, typically for a period or place with happy personal associations. If that sounds abstract, well, that is because it is. Nostalgia can mean many different things to many different people. Yet a canon of musical ideas has developed to represent nostalgia and even evoke that feeling in your listeners. I want to talk about a few different strategies that you can use in your music today. Roughly, I will be grouping them into strategies relating to writing, production, and what I would like to call historical context, although some of these strategies are a bit murky and will certainly overlap. I will be using both examples from my own work as well as from other media. Number 1, historical context. I think the easiest to explain is actually the last one, historical context. Since nostalgia is a feeling relating to reminiscing about the past, referencing ideas, sounds, and musical styles that are outdated, or reference a specific moment in time is a valid strategy. Let's consider the final track of Hallways of Our Youth, Date at Shibuya Crossing. Immediately, you will notice a lot of musical tropes that were common in the 1980s. Date at Shibuya Crossing references a lot of Japanese city pop, a genre that has become more and more popular ever since Maria Takeuchi's Plastic Love has been rediscovered in the late 2010s. No matter if you lived through the 1980s yourself or not, your ears will immediately recognize the tropes of the era. The lush electric pianos, funk-driven guitar tones, and general reverb-driven production transport you back to a time long past. You're pretty flexible in what you reference, as long as the listener has the aforementioned context. A pretty extreme, and yet clever example of it, is how swing samples are used in the Caretaker's monumental Everywhere at the End of Time, an epic concept album about dementia. The Caretaker deconstructs the samples bit by bit, originally presenting them completely unaltered. Nostalgia is a positive feeling. But the more the samples become destroyed, warped, rearranged, the more the memory becomes corrupted, the more remembering becomes an ordeal, the more painful the nostalgia becomes. Not the most stereotypical example, but one I found very interesting nonetheless. Similarly, it can be productive to reference other music that the listener might know. Counting the Days from my latest release is heavily inspired by Carlos Santana's R&B phase in the 90s, so it is already referencing a style that has become outdated by now. In addition, I also quote the classic jazz standard Autumn Leaves in the song Solo. Check this out.
La mer efface sur le sable les pas des amants désunis.
Autumn Leaves isn't only well known and dates back to a time past, it's also literally a song about remembering and missing someone. Pretty cool, huh? Number 2, production techniques. I already hinted at this in my last section, but production techniques can often lead to the listener feeling a sense of nostalgia from your music. Beyond things that reference a time period, like the aforementioned big reverb sounds, you will want to focus either on instrumentation that feels outdated or outright degraded. The easiest way to do this is to just add a layer of noise to your sound. I like vinyl crackle for this kind of thing. Consider how the average lo-fi hip-hop sound does this. Most even go so far as to detune their piano sounds. You can also try to treat your tracks with EQ to make them sound aged. It can help to lean into a boxy kind of sound here, with a lot of the lows and highs filtered out, leaving only the low mids intact. Here you can consider boosting a couple narrow frequencies to emulate an old phone recording or otherwise. Plugins that can emulate broken down, outdated media can be helpful here. To emulate tape, I really like Tape Cassette 2, which gives you options to emulate tape warble, wow, and to add noise. Basically the raw black metal sound right out of a box. Isotope vinyl is a good option to emulate the sound of old vinyl records, ripe with options to date it to a specific time period or to add the sound of a warped vinyl, crackle, or dust. There are some slightly more unique paid products that I am quite fond of. One is Digitalis by Aberrant DSP, that can degrade your audio signals in ways that feel like early 2000s digital distortion. Imagine a badly named audio file you got off Napster in the day. Good to annoy Metallica with, but maybe not the best to listen to if you want a clean file. Digitalis can even make your sound stutter in odd ways, as if the file is corrupted. Another good one is the King's microphones. Released by Waves as a tie-in for Oscar bait movie The King's Speech, this one emulates old microphones from the 30s and 40s onwards. The sound is very realistic, and you learn early on that, for the listener to actually get what you're doing, you need to go harder than realistic. Just slap some EQ on it if you use the King's microphones. Still a very nice one though. I used all three all over the album. I'll give you a quick on-off example of those with a track from my latest Acid Pack. This is especially powerful if you want to bring down the intensity of a sound, as in the end, all of these take away from the signal in some way. On the title track, I turned Digitalis on and off for that reason. The best way here is to experiment. Often, less is more, but sometimes it can be worth it to go hard. Number 3. Writing. We have finally reached the point that will make many a listener moan, sigh, and weep as if they were a chord lutenist in the Elizabethan age. Obscure reference, well, anyway. Luckily, a lot of these concepts aren't particularly hard. Regarding harmony, some slight alterations to how you write your chords can already add a lot of that nostalgic spice. An easy but super effective way to make a chord progression sound nostalgic is to alter the 4 chord of a key to its minor version. Let's say you're in the key of C. Normally the key of C would have an F major chord on its 4th scale degree. By lowering the 3rd of that chord, you get a chord that is outside of a key. You can view it as being borrowed from C minor if you'd like. Let's compare these 2 chord progressions. One of them has the major, the other the minor version of the 4 chord. You can't deny it, instant nostalgia. Even better if you use a major version first, but then play the minor version after. I use this general movement all the time on Hallways of Our Youth. If I can shoehorn a minor 4th chord in somewhere, I probably did. You can even hear it in the melody of this little snippet from First Kiss. Ideally, in a chord progression like this, you go back to the one chord after you played your sweet minor 4 chord. You sometimes hear this referred to as a plagal cadence. Another great strategy is to use extended, more ambiguous harmony. Suspended chords are good at, well, building suspense, but also great at representing love or longing. Check out these. I would also recommend to use 7ths and 9ths liberally. The 7th of a minor chord is particularly potent at producing nostalgia when used as the bass note of a minor chord. You can hear this really well in Un Día de Noviembre, a beautiful classical guitar piece by Cuban composer Leo Brouwer. The chord remains static for a lot of it, but is moving down stepwise before cycling back. Check this out. Static is a good point as well. You will want to use relatively static harmony, dynamics, and tempo throughout the whole piece. You don't want to jolt listeners out of their seats. Nostalgia is a slow, quiet, plodding feeling. Nostalgia is ruminating on your memories, and you should have a listener do the same. Let them dwell on those juicy chords. Let them stew in these gentle dissonances, like they're stewing in their memories. Favor a slow tempo, quiet dynamics, and try to avoid harsh-sounding instruments, and you're already there. There are, of course, many different things you can do to evoke nostalgia in a listener, but I think these are the most essential and a good starting point. I hope this helps you on your journey to make nostalgic tunes. If you just want to skip ahead, I have an acid pack just waiting for you.